Well, it's this. It's a simple question. I haven't yet had an answer to it, so I'll put it on the record again. You have to name for me a moral action taken or a moral sentiment uttered by a believer that couldn't be taken or uttered by me as a non-believer. Something that only a believer, a person of faith, could do. I couldn't emulate because I don't have any belief in God. Now, so far, no one's been able to suggest anything under that heading. But there's a corollary question, much briefer, and where you don't have to stay for an answer. You have to think of a wicked thing said or an evil thing done by someone only because they thought God was telling them to do it. Now you've already thought of one, haven't you? Of course you have. And now you've thought of another. And another. Well, I rest my case. The evidence is from recent measurements of opinion. I'm very distrustful of opinion polls. As a rule, they tend to ask superficial questions. But the Pew Research Center in the United States has recently done a lot of work on religious allegiance. And what it's found is that the largest growing minority in your southern neighbor is those who check none of the above in the box marked faith. It's double what it was 10 years ago. I would predict it would double again in the next 10 years. It's about 13 to 14% now. These are not atheists, I should say, but they are people who, if you wanted to say what the common and unifying proposition was, would be this. An ethical life can be lived without reference to the supernatural. Simple proposition. And that plus, I think, the desire to defend the Constitution and the idea of a secular republic and the separation of church and state from theocratic bullying both at home and abroad. People have had enough of being menaced and threatened and lectured and terrified by those who claim to have God on their side, whether it's obviously the forces of jihad or more insidiously and nearer home, those who want to have stultifying nonsense taught to American school children with taxpayers' money, let alone the idea that equal time should go to stultifying nonsense. In other words, after the biology class we have the intelligent design moment. Don't call it intelligent design, by the way. You've made a concession if you agree to call it that. Call it creationism. So then we have the astronomy period, and then we'll do Mrs. Jenkins will take you for astrology after the break. And then tomorrow we'll have your alchemy papers all ready. It's enough to make a cat laugh, and people won't have it. Nobody wants to come from a state that gets laughed at for that kind of stupidity. And no one's going to hold their convention in the capital city of the state that does it. And it's been defeated now in every court and school board in the land. And I'm proud to say, I think, after battling it for a long time, I've lived to see these people defeated. Not just defeated, but also humiliated, which is very nice.